Right. I hope you enjoyed your meal. I'm sorry I didn't mean to yell at you. So we have the honor today of having a speaker who is very important to the state of South Carolina. If you've done any research on Lindsey Graham, you know that Lindsey Graham has been there for 30 years in a different manner. I think this is all he's done in his entire life is go to Washington. I think he did start out in the state, but anyway, we don't want to talk about him. We know what he's done, we know what he can do, and what he might do in the future, and I think we all feel like we should claim house in Congress and in the Senate. So that's how I feel about it. But so whether it's for the city council or for the state reps or the governor, or whether it's for national, our candidates are very valuable people for us, because the problems that we have right now are caused by the things that they failed to do, or the things that they did that really have not done us any good. If there's any Lindsay fans here, just, do your homework. There may be some people here that work for Lindsay, but, we all have to have our jobs and choose what we do, but we will be held accountable for it. Well, I've rambled on long enough. I am tired of Lindsay. The first few trips I made to the State House, I think it was the first visit I went to the State House, there were two senators there that were giving each other plaques for being in the South Carolina Senate for 30 years. And they were so proud of that. And if they did a lot of good, that's wonderful, but the way the state is being run right now, I think we all realize that they're not doing a great job up there either. So that's my 2 cents. So we'll move on to thank Mark Lynch and his wife for all that they're doing for our state. They're spending a lot of time on the road. They put their money, their heart, and their hard work into it. And if you've run for anything, or even thought about it, it is a hard thing to do because you may lose. I've told people that I know here that have run before, in Myrtle Beach, if you run one time and you lose, don't feel bad. At least people know who you are now. So if you run a second time, you have a better chance and people know who you are. So don't give up. If you have a call to run for office, consider it and talk to people. So we're going to start out by introducing you to Mark Lynch's wife. Her name is Sarah. She's a charming Southern woman and a heart that's very solid and good. And please give Sarah a welcome. What was that?
It's just turned on.
Okay, so we just finished, so do you want to take that?
Hey y'all. And I said that correctly, y'all, for all of you guys that have moved here and have suddenly found your Southern roots. Welcome. We love all of y'all. That's the plural, right? Yeah. But I'm Sarah Lynch. I'm Mark's wife. He often says I'm his handler. Could be true. Anyway, when we started, Mark ran for the Senate several years ago and lost. It was in 2020 and they rigged his election in that too. But after that election, we did a debrief with our campaign team and we're like, there's still work to be done here. So we started United Patriots Alliance. And Mark was in it, but he's not in it or can't be in it because of the campaign. But is still going and doing great stuff. But part of our organization, we wanted to be watchdogs for the House and the Senate and all the elected officials, Democrats and Republicans. And so the last year, we're vetting candidates and doing different things, and we actually worked in 34 campaigns in this last election cycle, and 24 of our people won. They were Freedom Caucus folks. I thought that was pretty good. Anyway, so when we started looking at the Lindsay thing, we'd name a name. I'm like, no, we can't use him for this or that or the other. And I told Mark, I said, the only person I know that could run for Lindsay is you. He goes, no, don't stop. I need to stop. And I said, no. I said two things. And when he was asked to run the first time, he had a group of people that came to him that wanted him to run. And they said, we want you to run for two reasons. And one, you can't be bought. And two, you won't change your convictions. And I looked at him and I said, well, they're right. And so I kept working on him and I said, you got to run because you're honest. And we've been married 37 years and I don't think he's ever lied to me, not even once. And I know he hasn't lied to other people. It's just not in his DNA. He can't do it. Sometimes it's really annoying, but not that I'm encouraging him to lie, but he's just honest to the core. And so anyway, I just told him, I said, you really need to do it. So he told me no again. And a good wife doesn't know, it's just our starting point, right, ladies?
No means maybe.
Yeah, that means we're not giving up. Guys, so now you know. But anyway, so a gentleman that's now our campaign strategist, he's been friends with us for 5 years. He's worked with UPA doing different events and things like that. And he told Mark, because initially I was thinking maybe governor. And he said, no, governor's not your race. He said, you need to run for the U.S. Senate because that's your race. And it really is. He's a fighter. He won't be bought off. He won't change his convictions. He uses the Bible first and the Constitution second as his filter. And if it doesn't get through that, he won't do it. So I guess I've yacked long enough about my husband. I'm going to let him talk now. But let me introduce you to the next United States Senator from South Carolina, Mark Lynch.
I'm a blessed man.
Yes, you are.
I dated a couple of different girls, thought God had, sent the right one. This is the one, that wasn't. And I quit looking and I just turned it over to God and I said, you're going to have to bring the one. And he knew. And I love that girl. She's awesome. And she is my handler. She's a good one. And we're a good couple. We work things out. We're both passionate about stuff and we get things done. And if you don't know us, if you're to see us arguing about what color the paint should be in the room, we're just passionate about what we believe in. One friend of ours, this real soft's like, oh God, are y'all all right? Sarah's like, shut up, we're doing fine. We're just making a decision. We're having a debate, discussion. But Sarah's a godly woman and she's a strong fighter. And it's just awesome doing life with her. Thank you, Sarah. So I got into this business back in 2014 when I met a gentleman that was running Understanding the Threat, an organization that was teaching and consulting at the highest level about our Islamic infiltration in America with communists. And he did a presentation at our store in our chapel. We have a chapel at our store. We have church twice a week for our employees. And doing presentations in churches, and 600 and 800 people come to these things. And we had some of the House reps from Columbia and senators come to some private training. We started training SLED agents, FBI, SWAT, sheriffs, deputies, police deputies in our communities in 7 counties about the Islamic threat, and I was asked to run for office. And so that's when I ran for a state Senate seat in 2020. I lost by 5%. People said, you need to run again. We need somebody like you. And there wasn't anything really till Sarah started poking last summer about this position. So here we are. But I'm Mark Lynch. I was born in Greenville. Christian parents. I was saved at 11 years old and came to know Jesus in my heart as my Lord and Savior. And worked in our family business. We're in our 73rd year. We're debt-free personally and corporately. I bought the business in '85, and my father gave me the reins, and we took it from 5 employees to 110 these last 40 years. And we've got 2 awesome kids and 4 grandchildren, just a wonderful family. We were talking about the 4th at our table, and we had a nice leisure time with our kids and our grandchildren. It's just wonderful on the 4th. But that's a little bit about me, and we're in this race now, and people have told me that, you know, one of my friends even said, I said, you know, I'm a Republican. He said, you're not a Republican. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, you're a conservative. You're a true conservative. So this little graphic that South Carolina is ready for a true conservative leader that has integrity, honor, and courage with a backbone. In our company, we belong to a multi-billion-dollar buying group called the Nationwide Marketing Group that consists of other appliance, furniture, electronics, bedding stores like ours in Greenville. And that gives us information, networking ideas, you know, sharing ideas and things. And of the 3,000 dealers, we belong to the Brand Builder division, which is the largest 80 dealers in the country. That's us. We're part of that. And it's all a God thing. Back years ago, there was a point in time in my office, I go and kneel down and pray and thank God for the day every day before I leave work, lock up. And I've got a picture my father gave me of a businessman talking with Jesus facing each other in 2 chairs. And you can buy them at Christian bookstores. I've seen other people have the same little painting. And that's just a location where I go and kneel and give thanks to the Lord. And one of those days, like 35 years ago or whatever it was, I realized the dollar in my wallet, my wife, the dog, these employees, I don't own anything. And there was a great, awesome, respectful fear of stewardship responsibility over that I've got to take good care of this. You know, my dad's brought it up to this level, and I'm coming in now, you know, and I'll tell you, God knows how to run a great business. I don't. He knows how to run a great campaign, and, you know, it's His will. And that's where I set myself every day, every morning, as I turn my will back over. My life's one time. My name's in the book of life. If I fall over dead right now, I'll be with Jesus. I know that. I know my destiny. But I have to stay in His will all during the day, and anytime I try to take the keys back over. And I used to think that way, that it meant like putting a blindfold on and getting in the back seat of the car, and Jesus comes and picks us up and He's driving. I should get some credit for that song, Jesus Take the Wheel, because that's the way I envisioned it years ago. But they wrote a song about it. So that's a little bit about me, and our platform is God first. That's what makes America great again. I got a email from General Mike Flynn. I'm friends with him. We're hoping he'll endorse me with his security intelligence work we've done the last 10 years together with some of these guys. And, you know, he had a story about July 4th that we cannot forget, the blood that was shed to form this great experiment called America, because they came here to worship the one true God. And we've gotten away from that. And I'm responsible. I wasn't doing anything, you know, 15 years ago. I vote, but I wasn't that involved. But the pain that's happened and all the craziness that's happened and all the godlessness in our country's brought us DEI and LGBTQ and all this crazy stuff that we're all tired of. And so with the knowledge I have of the industry, the intelligence security industry, I can't not run. I have to get in this thing. I can't meet my maker one day and he said, "Why didn't you run?" You know, I don't want to hear that. So we're in it. So we'll go through a couple little slides here. Maybe. It's not working.
Slide it on, maybe on the side of it. Let's see. What's working? Here, hand it over to me this way. Should. Okay.
There we go. So this first slide, and one of my biggest things I want to work on is pro-life. We've murdered over 63 million children in this country. And when we did a poll with Rasmussen through polls, I was kind of saddened by it, you know, because pro-life was way down the list of importance for voters in South Carolina. But it's a big one for me. I don't believe God's going to bless this country again or South Carolina if we don't get rid of abortions. But Lindsey Graham is okay with murdering babies in the womb up to 15 weeks. And so here's our stance on pro-life. Sound. We'll get it here in a second.
Maybe just delay here. Try now.
I heard it
Oh,
earlier.
there it goes. Yeah. Yep.
I'm Mark Nixon. I approve this message. Stand with us in the fight for life here in South Carolina. Go to letsforsenate.com and join us in this fight.
So that's my stance. Did y'all notice Silent Part Lindsey voted for our tax dollars to fund Obamacare and Medicaid to pay for abortions up to the moment before delivery in 9 states. So a mother could, at the last second in labor, could say, "I can't do this doesn't suit," and they'll murder the child. That's just as wicked as it can be. This next slide is Lindsey Graham. He's working for the International Republican Institute, overseeing $130.7 million. DOJ brought out a lot of this information and pointed to him and some other people that they could be possibly getting up to $82 million out of this. In this next slide, he
Hello, everybody. Senator Lindsey Graham here. Happy anniversary to all my friends at USAID. You've made a big difference in the world. You're a force for good. Create a great impression for our country, and you change lives. You take taxpayer dollars and you improve the lives of others, which is good foreign policy, good national security policy. And to all the folks throughout the world who work for USAID, local hires, thank you. You're a great part of the team. I've been a big champion for a long time. Enjoy this anniversary, and when it comes to USAID, the best is yet to come.
Yep.
When was that? I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, he's been with it, a long time, overseeing it. And
He oversees the money handling of USA.
right. So the next slide shows what happened and what his stance was on January 6th when we were going there to exercise our right of freedom of speech and to protest peacefully.
A separate meeting with Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, Fanone described the assault officers faced. And Fanone writes Graham responded, "You guys should have shot them all in the head."
Yep. And then on January
To delay this
20th,
election. Trump and I, we've had a hell of a journey. I hate it being this way. Oh my God, I hate it. From my point of view, he's been a consequential president. But today, first thing you'll see. All I can say is count me out. Enough is enough. I've tried to be helpful. But when this Wisconsin ourselves, and when it's over, it is over. It is over. The final thing, Joe Biden. I've traveled the world with Joe. I hoped he lost. I prayed he would lose. He won.
so his discernment filter is a little broken. Trump won. He's won 3 elections, right? But the second one was stolen.
If you can't admire Joe Biden as a person, then it's probably you got a problem. You need to do some self-evaluation. That's not right.
Horrible.
And you know how you make America great again? Tell Donald Trump to go to hell.
I want everybody to remember this history line we're showing. That's back when he ran for president against Trump.
When was this? 2020?
That would have been 2016, yeah. So we're seeing the true Lindsey. And then the next one, some of y'all might have been there.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome United States Senator Lindsey Graham.
This is 24. When Trump came through Pickens to speak.
Welcome to Pickens. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. He is going to win South Carolina. This is the pathway to the presidency. God bless you all. God bless President Trump. God bless America.
And then I had the pleasure to speak at Pickens precinct reorganization meeting, and we had a great time. Oh wait, first this was back in 24. Trump says I blame myself for Lindsey Graham because the only reason he won in the great state of South Carolina is because I endorsed him. Yep. And he's endorsed him again. And I think he has a lean Senate majority, and he needs Lindsey to behave and vote the way he needs him a little bit longer. So we're praying about that. And all across social media across the country, the pulse was, we respect Donald Trump after his endorsement again of Lindsey. We respect Donald Trump. We're so thankful he's back in office as our leader in the country. But his endorsement won't save Lindsey Graham. And our polls showed 57% of South Carolinians said they would never vote for Lindsey again. So, and Trump, I love Trump. I voted for Trump in every election, and I'm MAGA, and I respect him. And he's a smart business guy, and he has his reasons, right? He gets to do what he wants to do. But people also have seen that Trump's endorsements aren't always accurate. So we all have our own mind, and we can take the endorsement and let it mean something or not. But this was in Pickens, and I finally met somebody there, the first person I've heard of that said they were going to vote for Lindsay, and it was, it was a gentleman who had worked for him for 27 years on his campaign. His name is, Yeah, Kevin Bishop. Kevin Bishop came up and said, Mr. Lynch, I want to meet you. We shook hands, and I said, yeah, I remember you. You wrote an article this week about me. And he said, yep. The article said if Mr. Lynch were to win the primary, that's an automatic deposit of a Democrat in the general election in November when it happens. And I said, Kevin, we've had a Democrat in that seat for 30 years. We already know that, right? And he said, what about Trump's endorsement? What about that? I said, what about it? And I said, we love Trump. I voted for him. I appreciate it. He can endorse whoever he wants to, but his endorsement, everybody's agreed. It won't save Lindsay this time. Sorry. So anyway, we had a good time there. And then later, Pickens got unseated at the convention in Columbia. And I don't know if I was a part of that or not, but there were lies made up about that day, and the board chose to unseat Pickens. So we've still got problems in Columbia. But that's what happened there that day. But this is our TV commercial. I don't know if y'all have seen it. It's running right now. We just started it.
Mark Lynch, South Carolina's choice for true conservative leadership. Lynch is a leader in the Palmetto State, a successful businessman and job creator. Married 37 years with 4 grandchildren, Lynch will wage the battle for America's future, eradicate violent illegal invaders and terrorists, warmongering, backstabbing traitors removed. Mark Lynch means integrity, honor, courage, and something America really needs: backbone. Paid for and authorized by Lynch for Senate.
You know, we started seeing what was going on. We put an article on your table there where you're seated from Breitbart news organization. They called back in March and said, I don't know what y'all are doing, but we haven't seen Lindsay move to the right this soon in a campaign cycle. So we gave them an article. This public knowledge. The article is an inter-email correspondence between Paul Harstad. He served on Obama's campaign as his chief pollster, talking to John Podesta, who was involved with Pizzagate, the sex trafficking of our children. And they're talking together, and they never thought this would get found out, but the email is a secret correspondence between the two parties, and they're agreeing that Lindsey Graham would be the greatest ally to the Democrat Party they'd ever had for the Obama campaign. That's who he is. He's betrayed South Carolina. He's betrayed you and I. He's betrayed the nation. He's betraying Donald Trump. You know, Donald Trump's making him behave right now. Lindsey loves that endorsement. That's all he talks about. You know, but this is what I'm talking about with Lindsey Graham, and we all know. But just a little more proof. He sends this out, fighting for the unborn. You just saw his stance on 15 weeks and up to 9 months right before birth. You can murder the child. He's 100% pro-life and proud of it. He was endorsed by, I want y'all to remember these organizations because they're fake organizations for pro-life. Susan B. Anthony, National Right to Life, and South Carolina Citizens for Life. They endorsed him as a pro-life candidate when that's public information for everybody to read of his stance on pro-life. He's not pro-life at all. He came out with another lie this year. All this started happening when we filed and started running. He started campaigning real quick. Graham leads the passage of the Laken-Riley Act to crack down on illegal immigration for voting to close the border. He's never voted to do that. One of his nicknames is Gramnesty. He wants to grant amnesty to all illegal aliens. That's treasonous, in my opinion. He signed an oath to defend against foreign or domestic enemies, And we have military terrorists walking into our country, going to their assigned locations. I've seen it. I have proof of it. We talk about it in Dallas with the national security consultants in the country, the highest level people that lose their lives in this job. Bill Haney was one of John's friends who ran Homeland Security when it was formed after 9/11. John Guandolo was the head of the Anti-Terrorism Division of the FBI for 13 years after 9/11. These are the guys that are willing to lose their life in this job that they do. And some of them have. And they know what's going on. And so, yeah, the bunker buster bombs are good, but they're all in this state. They're in every state in the country. One of the first training camps of Islam was in York, South Carolina. It's called Islamville. You can go to Google and just search on YouTube and put in the words Islamville, and you'll see the training camps, one of the first ones of the country of 132 training camps in America. You can go there, you'll go down a dirt road to a little doghouse, there's a guy with an AK-47, that's as far as you're going. It's on 35 acres of land, and they do military training there with all the top Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, ISIS leaders in the world. You'll see the news presentation back in, like, it's been 15 years ago now, roughly, I think. So these are some of the reasons I've gotten in. And, you know, if I get in, I'm going to try to be on the committee for Homeland Security and serve on that subcommittee in Congress. But we've got issues, and the war's been going on a long time. We just haven't recognized it because there weren't bullets coming at us and tanks going down the roads or boats, PT boats coming up on the shores of Myrtle Beach. But they've controlled the narrative by controlling the shares of stock in all of our news organizations. We can't get any real true news. Fox is slick because it's probably 80% true. And then they won't quite get to the point. They leave a narrative out there of the other side always fair and balanced. One American News opened up and they shut it down when Mike Lindell had the Absolute Proof documentary coming out about the election being stolen. They canceled it on DirecTV, took it off the air, and they had to go to the internet to keep their news going. The John Birch Society Evan works 4 years ago with Art Thompson. He did a presentation at our store, and he showed all the icons, all the logos of all the national news organizations in our country, and then he went back to drilled into the page that shows the shareholders of the news organizations, and those are controlled by enemies of our country, the major shareholders of our news. So that's the first thing you do in warfare is get control of the comms. If you're going to bomb a country and try to fight it, right? Control the communication. So we've got to get that back. Our country, you know, I think about things, our kids are not for sale. This Epstein decision is really torn me up recently. Pam Bondi gave us the list months ago, said, I have the list, I'm looking at the list, I have all the information, and then it's crickets. And now they're washing it away. They're just going to shred the documents, or they're missing or lost, and there's not going to be anything happening from it. We owe all those children justice that have been involved in that situation at Epstein Island. And these people need to be arrested and put in prison or whatever we need to do. I'm all for enforcing laws. You know, in 2020, when COVID was going on, we had people in the state house in Columbia and the Senate coming up with bills to produce like an anti-swarming bill. I'm like, why are we doing that? Well, there's people, you know, stopping cars on I-85 going towards Atlanta, and we're going to have an anti-swarming bill where you can't do that. I said, we already have laws against that. It's obstructing traffic. Arrest them. We don't need another bill. I think some of our people in government think that their constituents don't believe they're doing anything if they're not creating bills. And I've been asked, if I get there, what am I going to do? What's the first bill I'm going to work on? The first thing I'm going to work on is getting a rake and raking all this red tape stuff off the Constitution and finding that little document again and go back and run the country based on that. You know, Evan teaches the Constitution classes, and we did that through the United Patriots Alliance, and they talk about it. If we get rid of all of the unconstitutional agencies in America that our government has created, we'll save 80% of our budget with this unnecessary, flagrant, crazy spending that's going on with all this government control. And that would be my focus, would be to get back to that and bring back the Constitution in every decision, like my wife shared. And, you know, and it's all divine. It was divinely written by men, inspired by God when they formed our great nation. And we got to get back to that. I have my push card on the tables. It is about defending America first. Everything needs to be America first again. We got to build out, you know, the big, beautiful bill. I'm a little mixed about that. Yes, there's a lot of great stuff in it. There's a lot of extra spending in it too for the next 10 years, but the spending is for budgeting, for closing the border, finishing that. We've got to do that, y'all. No country has open borders. We've all traveled with our visa passports to different countries, haven't we? It's hard to get in. You better have all your ducks in a row, and they do extreme security tests and frisking you and looking at your baggage and x-rays. Some of them have 2 or 3 checkpoints you go through with the same exact checks again, x-ray it again, frisk again, you know. And we've been slack with some of that, but we've got to finish our walls. And in my daily meditations, I've said this at presentations before, if y'all have been there. You know, one of the meditations I read a long time ago was that we need boundaries in our personal walk in our lives, or we become like nations without borders, without walls. We're open for complete ruin and devastation. So our country definitely needs to have that. And we have to build our military back, because Obama and Biden, those 12 years, they destroyed our military. They stopped research and development. They were, you know, getting rid of ships that were still perfectly okay, trashing them and just demilitarizing America. We're a very vulnerable country. And the other thing about that is our manufacturing. In COVID, because in our business, we watched it happen and I'm getting to the point of tariffs. I'm all for tariffs. In my lifetime, I saw all of our American-made TV manufacturers put out of business by the wave of Japanese. Sony, Hitachi, JVC, Toshiba came in, and they have horrible working conditions for their citizens in their countries. They take a room like this, they'll have 1,000 people bumped every 12 inches and pack them in here like sardines, and they don't let them out. They build a TV for 32 cents an hour. We pay our people more than that, and we allow them to bring their products into our country and take our American industries down. And during COVID, we saw how vulnerable we were with products. Couldn't get anything because it's coming from everywhere else but right here at home. Our furniture manufacturers in America that we buy Amish furniture from, they were crazy busy. And then it took a while to get products from them, because once everybody found out they had goods, everybody went to them. We were already buying from them. But they didn't miss a beat because it's made right here in America. So we got to bring that back and bring jobs back to this country and employ our people first, not other countries. That's America first. Build it here. You know, when we were kids, made in China, made in Japan, made in Mexico meant something. It meant junk, didn't it? Made in America is quality. We saw a lot of furniture manufacturers in the last 15, 20 years run to China, Thailand, Vietnam, because other companies like Rooms to Go started doing that. They started copying an American company like Thomasville. They go to China, get it copied. It's nowhere near the quality. It's half the weight. The furniture's just junk. And they bring it over here. They have a dresser for $5.99, and our American brands are $14.99. what are we doing? We're upside down $1,000 because of labor cost. So we've got to bite the bullet, and Trump's backed off a little bit of that, and he's given us an easier amount of time to get through this. But we've got to add a tariff to a product coming from overseas into America that levels up the playing field, and then may the best quality win, not just price. And we need to have our people working in these industries. The Second Amendment, we did a tour on that a couple of years ago, had a big event in our store. Our forefathers knew what that meant. It's the only amendment that has legal language like shall not be infringed. Next, you know, we have House reps and senators in Columbia fighting for constitutional carry. Why? I'm not getting what I'm paying you for with our tax dollars with your salaries, because we've had it since 1776. And it's an unalienable right that God gave you and I to protect ourselves, to survive. That's in our DNA. If I held you underwater in a swimming pool, you would fight to get oxygen. You'd do everything you could to get up above the surface of the water again. That's because God put your survival instinct into you. Sometimes it might, to resist evil, requires a gun to level the playing field. And so we already have that, but we have to keep that. If we ever lose that, that's it. If y'all ever seen the genocide charts and researched it in the history, every nation whose government sold their citizens on turn your guns in, we'll protect you. That's the government's job, right? The next day they were murdering their citizens. Ask anybody that grew up in Cuba what they went through and lived through it. We've had Cuban citizens that are now in America come and share their history, and it's horrible. End election fraud. In South Carolina, we're pushing for closing the primaries, right? We're allowing Democrats to determine our future of who our candidates are. They get to cross over and vote in our primaries. How stupid is that, right? Lindsey Graham can't win without it. That's one reason he keeps getting elected, because the Democrats pour in. When I ran for state senate, we had poll watchers at all the polls in our 12th district when I ran. And we all were asking each other the same thing. Are y'all seeing what we're seeing? All these angry people came in. They wouldn't even look at you. They just marched in on a mission from 5 to 7. They were different. They were voting against me and voting for Lindsey Graham. Democrats were. Stop endless wars. Lindsey's known as a warmonger. You know, when we were going to get involved with Israel to go bomb or attack Iran in this latest incident that came out, he's like, game on! He's like, we need to get troops on the ground. When we looked at his account, his ledger of his last campaign, he had $106 million in his campaign fund, and like 65 million of it came from Boeing and Lockheed Martin, the military industrial complex that are donated to him, because he sells a lot of missiles and all of that, getting our kids blown up for nothing. That's not America first. If we get attacked, yeah, we're going to stop the threat. If you come to my house tonight and try to break in and rape my wife and kill us or whatever, you're going to be bleeding. You know, we have guns, and I'm going to protect our home. I'm a fierce competitor, and I will stop enemies that come and threaten my family or my loved ones or y'all right now in this room right now or whatever. I'm not going to put up with it, but that's the last-ditch effort, is a war. We cannot just jump in so we can get more money and make millions of dollars off these military-industrial complex organizations that they have good old boy deals with. The lady brought it up today about selling our land to China. That's not America first. We're going to sell our country. Our country's not for sale either. And Arizona and some of the other states have already reversed some of those deals that their governors and all allowed to happen, and we need to stop that too, because this is happening in South Carolina, and Henry McMaster's allowing it. You know, and it's just crazy that people will sell their soul, sell their land, their state for money, right? And we need to stop that. Support American farms and manufacturing, absolutely. That's on my agenda to do. And we've got to be self-sufficient and grow our own food and help our farmers in this country. Arrest and prosecute domestic enemies. Some of them are inside of Congress. And treason is still against the law. And there needs to be some people charged with treason in this country. Anybody that didn't vote to close the border, I would question and bring up possible treasonous activity. What are you doing? If they've ever been to the border, there are some people coming in here trying to achieve the American dream and have an option to grow and live and enjoy life like we've had with this blessed country of America. But the majority of the people are walking in are shaven, well-fit military personnel from enemies of our country coming into this nation. In honor and defend the Constitution, we've got to get back to that. And it takes a godly, moral society to do that. And that's why we're a God-first platform. That's the only way it works. And so I give you my word on that. I'll defend God to the end and bring him back into Congress, into the Senate chambers, and keep other senators accountable on that. They've all signed an oath. And the one true God, his name's in it. And they're to defend against that and protect our country. And that's what'll fix America. And it'll just be the icing to make America great again. I think that's all I have. If we have questions or whatever, my wife's holding up an envelope on your table. I want to say this about this before I forget.
She gets the back one.
Yeah. So it takes money for these campaigns. And I mentioned earlier that my wife and I have been debt-free since 1999, and our business of 73 years have that I've run the last 40 with God at the center. And so when I met with Roger Stone early about this campaign, he said, Trump wants to see your skin in the game and your polling. Your skin in the game and your polling. That's what he's going to look for. So we prayed about all this the night we had a third discussion with a consultant. We had a washing. It's okay. I'll fly to D.C. every week. It's an hour and a half straight direct flight from Greenville, so that's easy. That's no time in an airplane. That's quiet time to pray and think a minute. And but we felt great about it, and then we prayed about what do we do with the financial part of it, because Lindsay had $106 million last time. I don't think it takes that much in business. We've had products that aged out or lost their value, and you couldn't give it away. Nobody wanted it. I don't think if Lindsay spends $100 million again, he can still win if there's a viable option. I think I'm the option. But we pushed $5 million of our own hard-earned money out of our retirement fund into this campaign, knowing we can lose it all. I'm committed for this race. I haven't seen that from any other candidate that's announced that they've had that kind of money they put in themselves. So we're not playing around. We're all in. And I have passion. When I do something, I do it to win. And I've done that all my life in our business. I'm a small guy. I fight the Goliaths every day. Our business is a mom and pop store, but now we're in a 132,000 square foot facility. When I first got into it, it's 3,200 square feet. We have 110 employees, and we're a factor in our market. And we eat the big corporate giants their lunch every day at Best Buy. Some of the ones that used to be around are Sears, Circuit City, H.H. Gregg, J. & Phil's, Woolco. We can go on and on. We're still here, and we have great people. God runs a great company when it's submitted to his will, and we honor him with it. And so I think that's why we're a viable company. And we kick butt and take names. That's what we do. And so we're here to do that in this industry too here. And we've gone on mission trips all over the world. We were talking to the pastor at lunch that sat with us. And the next mission trip is DC for us. And so we're going because God's called us, and we got to go. So we're committed to go, and we believe we're going to win this thing, or we wouldn't be doing it. But I need your help, and so it takes money. And fear is a sin. There's 366 verses in the Bible, even one for a leap year, where we could go pray. And one of the ones that was easy for me to learn, I didn't have to write it down on an index card and look at it and memorize it. It's 2 words, fear not. It's a command. Because when we write a check, stroke a check for $5 million and send it to your election treasurer campaign lady with the FEC, right? That's what we did. So it's okay, because it's not my money. And God owns all the cattle of 1,000 hills. And so whatever amount of money we need over $5 million, he's going to bring, because he's in this, because it's submitted to him. But I feel like and I hate this part worse than anything, because don't think $5 million is all it's going to take. It's going to take more. I need y'all to get over your fear right now and stroke us a big check and help this campaign. It'll be a Doge event, because I can save y'all trillions of dollars, because all the corruption that Lindsey Graham was overseeing, this is like cocaine wars. My life, I've had security people call us, and I understand security. I'm the security leader of our church security safety team, but I've resigned now because of the campaign, but I taught our guys how to shoot a lot better than they could. But, it takes money to do this, and we need your help. And it looks good, and it helps other people. It's a testimony when people see if you give us $5, or you can give the maximum as a couple of $21,000. That's over 3 events. If there's the primary, a runoff, and the general, each spouse can put in $3,500 each, $7,000 a couple, 3 times. Do whatever God leads you to do. That's what I would ask you to do. Pray and ask God what he would have you donate to this campaign. But the more givers helps people see, man, there's a lot of activity in that account. People that are looking, that are going to look at our treasury account publicly, want to see donations. That proves people believe. It's a testimony, right? People could be in our store. A lady can say, I don't know, I'm looking at these 2 refrigerators. She can ask another lady walking by, what brand do you have at home? If she has the same thing, it's a done deal, because it must be good. She has one too. So that just helps. So did I ask?
Yeah, really good question.
So she made me do it. That's the part I don't like, but we do need more funding. This first wave of TV commercials, that we're running is over $100,000, because the whole state for 3 weeks is going to see our commercials.
Where are you running your commercials?
On Newsmax and Fox News right now first, and then they'll be on other stations later. We're going after, Republicans.
Would you want to be on Real America's Voice with the War Room with Steve Bannon?
Yes. Yep. We've contacted him. We've sent him polling. We're just kind of waiting. He's playing his game with us, but we'll probably be on there, Tucker. We've been on Newsmax a couple of times, and about 30 different things. Alex Jones, InfoWars, a lot of good stuff.
He was supposed to be on that old Russian fly meeting.
I think I saw a clip of him on Info.
Yeah.
Yep.
Talking about Lindsey Graham's wife or girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Alex asking that question.
First is a comment and then a question, but you mentioned about Lindsey Graham's donations and $65 million from Boeing and whatever. I followed his donations too. And you're right about that, but one other thing that I found very strange is that there's an astronomical number of retirees who filed under the individual category with large amounts of money. Are these people all on fixed incomes? Is there something strange about that, maybe?
I don't know.
well, maybe whoever's researching it ought to check, because that's a very strange thing to have all that money flowing in from retail.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The other one was a question though. Do you, I know that since this is a primary, you can have various GOP supporting you theoretically. But have you got a lock on Greenville?
I hope we do. You know, I don't know. We haven't done that research yet, but that's where we're known more than anywhere, right there in our hometown.
Because you can't win without Spartanburg, Greenville,
Yep.
Murray, Charleston, and there's a few. I can't think of it.
Right.
We've got huge quality Greenville, he's just being honest.
Oh, from Greenville? Yeah, I would hope.
Yes. Yep. In Spartanburg, that's where we currently live.
My friend Pat Elliott would like to know, to what extent would you support Israel?
We love Israel. In our chapel at the store, we've been to Israel. And so, you know, in the Bible I read, blessed is the nation who blesses Israel, and blessed are those who bless Israel. So yes, my Savior was a Jew, right? Jesus. But we have the flags of Jerusalem and Israel in our chapel, at our business where we have church twice a week. And I absolutely support the true Israel.
Mark, tell them what you did when they came to your store during COVID and said, you need to close.
Yeah, we had an employee that was freaking out and believed it, and she turned us into the police, city police, DHEC, and OSHA. And they told me, when OSHA called and DHEC called, says one of your employees has complained about you, we're going to come do inspections. And I said, you're not doing any inspections here. You know, the police came and they would call, and Hobart Lewis says, I'm not going to shut down hundreds of people, of groups outside or events. But anyway, if we get a complaint, they're going to call you. And after all these calls every day, one of my friends, Eric at the city police department, because we're in the cities, said, I'm with you. I'm on the same page as you. I don't wear a mask. I hate all this stupid stuff, but you have the most complaints of any retailer in Greenville County. And I said, Eric, if I fall to second place, you better come see me in person. But OSHA came, they called first and said, we want to see pictures of all your cleaning supplies. So I went right then, so they knew I didn't go buy cleaning supplies, because we have a janitorial closet, and we have Clorox and Pine Sol and Lysol and stuff in there that we clean with, and Comet. And I took a picture of all the cleaning supplies. I'm like, how stupid is all this? And I sent the pictures down to the office in Columbia. And then the next week, a guy from OSHA came to the store. He has his badge. He's like 28 years old. And he had to be the bad cop that day, and says, I'm here to, I said, we're already given a compliancy. I have proof of that in the email. He said, well, they want me to do an inspection and I need to talk to 7 of your employees today. I said, you're not talking to anybody. I said, you work for me. I pay your taxes that pays for your job, and I don't have an appointment with you last time I checked. And you're disrupting my business. So he's not going to let me check your employees or investigate more of your store. I said, no. He said, I'll get a warrant. I said, okay. So the next week, my son called. He went to the Citadel, and he was in cadre and all, so he's enjoying watching Dad defend against all this stuff. Said, your buddy from OSHA's out here again. And I'm like, really? And so this was in November of 2020, and it was raining that day and kind of cool, breezy. They had 2 city police cars, 4 officers, the OSHA attorney, the OSHA manager from Columbia, and this same young guy that was there. And he says, I have a warrant. Our mayor, Knox White's office, this is really a blue mayor, gave him an administrative warrant that says you have to let me inspect your store and interview your employees. And I said, let me see that. And I took it out of his hand, and at the bottom of the front page, it says this has to be done at a time that's reasonable for me. And our guys were slammed with customers. It was 10:30 in the morning that Friday. And I said, it doesn't work. It ain't happening today. I'm not going to pull people away from customers to talk to you. So you're not going to let me do the inspection. I said, no. So I called my attorney, and he went out into the parking lot. They were all having a conversation in the drizzle, cold rain that morning on Friday. And my attorney called back and he said, carry the phone out there and put it on speaker and let me talk to him. He said, you can meet with Bart Monday or Tuesday between 8 and 9. And they said, we're here now, Monday or Tuesday between 8 and 9. So he said, I knew they wouldn't drive back up there again because those girls have to hurry up and they're not going to get up at 5 in the morning to be there at 8 o'clock. And so they called and they asked questions like, how long have you worked for Mark? 29 years, 17 years, whatever. Our people stay with us because we have a great culture. It's a family and it's just awesome. And so it was just a harassment thing. The DHEC lady that called was telling me all these things and I just played dumb. I said, is this a law or something? She said, no, I said, so this is your opinion. I said, so listen, I'm in charge of my medical freedom, not you. And I started asking her some questions. And I said, give me your name because this is concerning to me that I know more about this subject than you do. And you're calling me, threatening me. So, you know, but if I didn't know the Constitution and stand up for my rights, I would have been a victim and a statistic like a lot of my friends that lost their businesses and closed and went home because they were told to go home. It's just horrible. And Henry McMaster, I'm sorry, he's guilty. And he came out with his direct mail pieces when he was announced he was running again for his current term he's now in, of how great he led the state through COVID. And he closed our state down 33 consecutive 2-week periods in a row unconstitutionally against the laws of our state. And nobody's done a thing about it. And it bankrupted thousands of businesses. But, you know, it's just, I'm so thankful to be a child of a king because we do have discernment and the Christian faith people, the friends I hang out with, we could all see it. And, you know, when the liquor stores can stay open and the abortion clinics can stay open, but churches have to close. Is anybody, you know, are we paying any attention out here to what's going on? And, you know, the pastor out in California closed his church. I mean, they made him close and arrested him several times. And the movie came out that he produced, the Essential Church, because he was willing to hold the line. That's what we have to do through this nonsense. But we've got to get the people out that are making these laws, putting us through this nonsense stuff in our lives. And that's why I'm running. So I know Andre Bauer got in, and there might be another person we've heard. I don't think they're going to be a threat to our campaign. We're not, you know, I'm not prideful. I'm not going to tell you I am your next senator. Sarah introduced me that way. We're fighting. We believe we're going to win this thing. We're taking that attitude. But I'm not like Peter that would tell you I'll never deny you. He was done when he said that. My prayer is, God, help us win. Get me in there and I'll support you and give you all the praise and the glory. Because it's him that we go to serve.
Thank you. Ladies, what I think is a good idea, if you can get your picture with Mark before you leave and put it on social media and just flood as much as you can. If you will do that, if you feel inclined. Steve, you have a question?
Mark is going to be back in the Myrtle Beach area this coming Saturday, July 19th in River Hills. Little River Pitches and environment out there. The room holds 130 people. I don't know if we'll have that many. But if you have a friend or you want to see him again or bring somebody to see him, that's another opportunity to do it. He's going to come down here again from Spartansburg all the way down here to Horry County, and so it would be a great opportunity for anybody that wants to see him or bring somebody with you, because this man's got to be a mission.
Thank you. And I'll just say this. A lot of people ask, what can I do? I'll help you. I'll do whatever you need me to do. The number one thing to do is get on your knees and pray. they'll, pray against the evil attacks that'll come, and pray that we get our message out, pray that we don't get blocked by the establishment Republican Party that's really, a traitor party. You can call them a rhino, I call them traitors. They betray us, right? They're fighting against people like me from getting in because they're going to lose their power and their money and their connections. The next thing you can do after prayer is take your phone out, like we did at our first fundraising event at our home, and Sarah and I called every contact in our phone that's still alive that we know. This is your first immediate ripple of influence you can have a big effect on, because people, your friends, trust you. Tell them about me if you believe in me. Help me. Get them involved. Tell them to go to our website at Lynch for Senate. Tell them we have a chance now to replace a rhino traitor guy, and we need to get behind this guy and support him and send money to the web page. Donate online. Do whatever you can. And be willing to sign up to volunteer when we develop our meeting. One of our field managers we're probably going to hire today in Columbia on the way home, that'll help coordinate half of the state's door knocking and sign waving and everything we're going to have to do. So pray for that we get the right people that'll help our campaign.
I like that name, the Rhino Trader guy. So we want to dump that Rhino Trader guy. The tickets, so pull out your tickets, 1720709. 20709. I want to remind you on the back of the agenda has our upcoming meetings. We also have a meeting on July 15th at the Ignite Church. That's next Tuesday at Ignite Church at 5:30 is the South Carolina Safe Elections, and they're going to go over training for hand ballot counting and talk about safe elections in South Carolina. It's a very important issue. And then July 17th, which is next Thursday, you'll get an email today about this. We're having a tour of the cable landing, thank you. The cable landing, which is the Myrtle Beach City Council has voted for making us a smart city. So they have lines that are being laid this week from Portugal. There are lines from all over the world that are ending up in Myrtle Beach, which is a good thing. It'll draw business here. But it is to support AI and smart cities, so we're going on a tour. 20 people can go on the 17th. We passed around a sign-in sheet. Did it move from your? Okay. So, if you'll sign up on that sheet and the email will go out, you'll be able to RSVP that way. 20 people can attend that luncheon. It's free food. And we'll get a tour of the data center, the cable landing. It's very interesting. The email that you will receive today has a great deal of information that's very easy and intriguing to read about artificial intelligence and what they're doing in Myrtle Beach at this data center. So I'll send that email out. If I see some new people here, if you please will give us your email address before you leave. We did have our website up. Our website is mbrw at
Got it right here, John.
.org.
mbrw.org.
Yeah, thank you.
Johnny, who's is the gentleman that was here a couple months ago, is he gonna be doing the data?
He'll be there. He will be there with us, Sean Torren, who came and spoke. I've also asked him to come in October to give us a heads up on artificial intelligence. What is it? It's a tool, but it's a scary tool. It could be scary.
The smart city is part of the agenda 2030, which is New World Order.
Yeah, we know. We know. When they say globally, I told them it's a trigger. Don't use the whole word. if that's not what you're doing. So the 15th at the Ignite Church, and that message went out on July 4th, so look in your email for South Carolina Safe Elections. That should be high on our priority list, all of our priority list. And if you have any questions, ask Larry Hines with the trader. What was that? Dump the trader. What was the other term? The what? Rhino trader. Yeah, that's good. He's good. I like that. Okay.
And remember to vote next summer, June 9th is the primary. It's not November, it's June 9th.
Mm-hmm. It's right here on your agenda, the date for the primary, June 9th. So did anyone have the number 17207? Oh, okay, there's something wrong here. This guy wins every month. Every month he gets it. Oh, God bless you. Okay. Any other?
Who's the lady that asked me about the Greek society meeting? I gotta check the Greek society.
Okay, did you want to say something? Make it quick.
Hi, my name is Tricia with Moms for Liberty. I just want to say really fast, that August 21st at 4 p.m., we're going to have Nancy Mace at the Forward Church, and then on September 18th, we're going to have Curtis Lofts, who's our treasurer, at the Forward Church, which is right off of 501 and Forest Brook Road. It's going to be a great event.
Send us the information. I'll send it out to everyone, okay?
I just have one quick question. We're thinking about doing a grandparent reading thing for the children. and a show of hands, is anybody, do you think, interested, like once a month, going to a school and helping out reading to the second or third graders, because they need to get better at this? Is there anybody, we're trying to figure out if this is worth it or not. Is there any parents or grandparents would want to help out once a month and read to the second and third graders? At this school where they're living at, their elementary near them. I just want to show of hands. I'm just trying to figure out if it's worth it or not. Okay. Is anybody else would be interested in it? Okay. I just want to see this. We're just making it up right now, so we're going to get it done with the next month. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So get your picture taken with Mark, please, and put it on the internet. Okay, where's the sign-up sheet? Where is it? Which table?
Should we bring the banner over here for pictures?
Take your agenda with you.